Hi, hello. Today is technically the day before the first day of Tome Topple. However, I already filmed a video today, so I thought it might as well, while I look presentable, just quickly run through my TBR for the Tome Topple. If you don't know, Tome Topple is the readathon run by Sam over at Thoughts on Tomes, and the goal is to get through as many of your tomes, aka massive books over 500 pages, within that 2-week span. So I'll link her video that announces this below, but I thought I'd quickly run through it. So I kind of gathered a bunch of books that I wanted to read, and I'm gonna try to fit them into as many of the prompts as I can. So, for example, Stephen King's 11/22/63 is my most recent purchase, or at least my most recent tome that I purchased. So this will fit for that prompt, and it's also a standalone. It is one of the biggest ones, I think, on this TBR. But this is probably not one of my priorities for the TBR, but it is on the list because it is a big one that I do want to get to. I also have from my 20 books for 2020 video, The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. This one's been on my TBR for ages. This is probably my longest book on my TBR, or at least one of them. And it's one that I really want to get to, so I'm going to try to prioritize this one for sure, just to at least get a head start on it during the 2 weeks. From that same video, I have A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. I want to get back into this one. Like I said in that video, I'm halfway through, but I need to restart it. And I'd really like to... Theoretically, I was going to pick up the regular paperback edition of this, but I might as well just start it. Tome Topple's a good time to see if I can rush through it. The writing style in this is very, very accessible, and it reads really fast, so I don't think I'm going to have an issue going through it. It's just a question of getting to it, because I'm trash. I also have, it's on my iPad because I have it on Apple Books, but Way of Kings, if you can't even see it. There you go. Way of Kings, Brandon Sanderson. I don't know how many pages it is on the iPad, but I know it is a very large book. And in case I feel like throwing some fantasy into this mix, I will read that. And finally, also from my 20 books for 2020 video, and for technically a secret TBR, but doesn't really matter, House of Leaves by Mark Danielewski. I ended up picking up a physical copy of this because there's no point for this book to read it online, so I'm really excited for this one. It's not as big as the other ones, but this one I wanted to read anyways, like I said, for that secret TBR, and I wanted to read it this year. So I'm probably going to prioritize the 3 books that I really wanted to get to this year, but I'm a mood reader, so we'll see what happens. I gotta say I'm really excited for this because it's a good opportunity to knock out some of the big books on my TBR. I don't think I'll get to like all of them, obviously. I don't think I'll even finish one, who knows, because they're pretty big. But at least this is an opportunity to kind of sit down and be like, you dumb bitch, you need to read some of your massive books and stop being a baby. On top of that, during this 2 weeks, I will be continuing. I have a buddy read going right now for Vicious by V.E. Schwab with Ray from Bookmark Chronicles. I'll link her channel down below. She is fantastic, and I really suggest to check her out. So we're reading this together right now, and obviously I'm not going to pause a buddy read for another readathon, so I'll just keep blowing through this one. We're doing 6 chapters a day, and they read super fast, so I'm gonna keep going with this. I don't think it's going to take away from my other reading. I do have 3 other books that I'm reading at the same time, but I'm gonna have to put them on pause for this because I do want to focus on the tomes. So I will update you guys once I start reading. Hello, hi. So it is Sunday the 9th I've lost all track of time and space, but I have just been reading for a little under an hour Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin, as I said I would try to do. I'm about 70 pages in, and I am so fucking glad I picked this back up. Honestly, I missed being in this world so much. If you have somehow escaped popular culture and the internet the last, like, 6 years or whatever, Game of Thrones is a medieval fantasy about a power struggle between different families, a good time, lots of sex, lots of violence, lots of family dramas, lots of political intrigue. It's just, I don't know what to tell you if you haven't heard about it and or read or watched it yet. I will say I am extremely glad I watched the show first. It helps me kind of visualize everything, but I am still able to kind of imprint my own. So for settings, for example, I don't remember exactly what the show looked like. Obviously characters I can't really forget, but the settings I'm kind of able to still imagine them in my own way. So it's not a complete reenactment of the show. I'm also glad that I waited a little bit before reading it again. The first time I picked this up was very soon after I finished binging the entire series, and I found that I was still kind of processing the end of the show and processing the show itself. So it was a little too soon for me to get back into it, but I am so happy that I jumped back into it. Now it feels like a really good time for it. I was thinking of rewatching the show and I was like, why don't I just read the books? I will definitely pick up this week, though, a full-size paperback, because this is the mass market small chunky boy, and I hate it with a passion. I also have started, not quite annotating it. The thing is with this edition is that they are so cheap. They're so cheap that if I write something in pencil and erase it, it like takes off the ink, and same with my usual plastic Post-it tabs that I usually use for annotating, they just pull off the ink. So I'd rather just get like a regular edition and annotate properly. I think I'll keep reading this in the meantime until I'm able to go and pick up a copy. But yeah, I don't think I want to continue the series in these, which is too bad because I picked up both this and A Clash of Kings in the mass market paperbacks from Value Village. But it's just kind of ridiculous. Like, I'm not really enjoying this reading experience. I gotta say, I've also been reading it with a Game of Thrones, Winterfell inspired like ambiance with some like music and, you know, howling winds and crackling fire sounds in the background, and it's putting me so much more back in the story because the beginning of this book, and the majority of this book if I'm not mistaken, does follow the Starks of Winterfell, and it's so nice to have like that ambiance in the background and to have the sounds and the songs of Winterfell, and like, oh, it just adds to the vibes and it makes me so much more immersed in it. Hello, so it's currently Monday the 10th. I am in the middle of my work day. I work at a mental health call center and I work on the phone, so when I'm not on the phone, I'm allowed to do whatever I want with my time. Therefore, I have been trying to read House of Leaves by Mark Danielewski, but this book is a challenge, to say the least. So my initial description and what I thought it was is not quite what it is. It's hard because the book is not written in like a traditional novel with a traditional narration, but I'll try to explain it. Our narrator's friend calls him and says, this guy in my apartment just died, come look through his stuff with me before someone comes and takes it away. And they find an old chest, I believe, full of papers and stuff, and right away they get this like bad feeling, or at least the narrator does. Doesn't think much of it, and that might be like a retrospect thing because he's writing after having gone through everything. So he takes everything home, and at first he's like, I'm not looking through it, but then it slowly starts eating at him and he's looking through it all, and he basically writes his notes, I guess. And what he's writing on is the man that died, he had kind of done a ton of research about a documentary, and the documentary is about the family who moves into a house and start discovering that it's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. So it's very convoluted and a little bit meta. The other thing about this is that he finds out, or at least I believe it's kind of hinted at, the fact that this documentary doesn't actually exist. So the old man is writing about something that doesn't actually exist, and it's a little pretentious, but not in a way that I find unpleasant. My worry about this was that it was going to be super pretentious, because the writing in this book is kind of weird. I'll insert clips of how it looks. It's just not written super traditionally. And I wasn't lying. Like, it's just a lot, you know? Like I said, because of how weird the book is and how weird it's kind of supposed to be, it's so hard to describe. But either way, I've been reading for a good chunk of the day, and I'm only on chapter 5, page 40. So, like, it's a hefty one. It's a big boy. And it is a very dense book to try to kind of wrap your mind around. But the tension and the intrigue are so, you can just taste it, you know? It's good stuff. I'm really, really intrigued. I'm really into this. Based on what I've heard about this book, it's one of those that you need to like take your time with, which probably makes it a very bad choice for a readathon, but I've never been able to make good choices anyways. Not me also forgetting that I have 6 chapters of Vicious to read for my buddy read. So I think because the next chapter in House of Leaves is like 30 pages long, which is pretty much as I've already read today. So I'm going to take a break. I'm going to read my chapters for Vicious. We're almost done the book. And I'm like, it's about to be the showdown, and I'm so ready. And then I'm going to continue with Game of Thrones, actually, just because I'm really enjoying being in this fantasy. This might put me in an epic fantasy mood. I might have to read Way of Kings after instead of Count of Monte Cristo, like I was kind of hoping to. Because this is just so good. Oh my god, I missed being in this world. I missed these characters. Arya Stark and Jon Snow, I would die for them. Like, something about this world. And here's the thing. I never thought I would enjoy medieval fantasy. I always thought that I needed a brand new world, brand new concepts, and something fresh. But if it's well written, like the political intrigue is there, and the characters, and the drama. I'm a messy bitch, I love drama. So there's just something about this that is so fucking phenomenal, and I can't get enough. I can't, I truly cannot. So I'm just gonna keep reading it, because that's what's making me happy right now. This was so fucking crazy. Holy shit. So me and Ray were reading 6 chapters a day, and then we got to the end of today's chapters, and we were talking about how much of like a tease it is. We were 80% in the book. And the showdown had not happened. And I was like, I need the showdown. I need it now. I'm like, do we just want to finish it today? Lo and behold, I just finished it. What a fucking wild ride, dude. I am so into it. This is light years better than A Darker Shade of Magic. Light years. The execution of this was actually so much better than Darker Shade of Magic. I really, really like this. It was just so twisted, but like actually dark and twisted, not like when people say, oh, this is like a dark fantasy. Like this was buck wild. This was good. This was dark and it was thrilling and it kept me on the edge of my seat, and I'm here for it and I'm so into it. I don't know if I'm going to pick up Vengeful, because the problem here is that I heard that it follows a different character that's not even introduced in Vicious, as far as I know. And I kind of like how this one wraps up. Everything kind of finished very well and wrapped up very neatly. So I don't know if I want to read the sequel, because it seems more like a companion novel, if that makes sense. I don't know. We'll see. So I just looked it up on Goodreads, and no, it doesn't follow a completely different character. It follows Sydney, who was like a fairly big part of Vicious. So, long story short, I don't know how to read apparently, and I don't know how to look shit up. I'm just gonna go off the cuff. And this is where it ends me having to correct myself. Hello, we are Tuesday. It's been a little while since I popped on here, but I spent a few days at my boyfriend's house and I can't really film there. He lives with roommates. It's just kind of chaotic, and I haven't told anyone that I have a YouTube channel yet, so I didn't really want to get caught talking to myself. I actually have finished Game of Thrones, and actually have picked up a nice big boy, because underlining in the small one was miserable, like I'd mentioned, and this was a far superior reading experience. 5 out of 5 stars. Did I expect anything else? No. Even though I know everything that happens in the book because the TV show is based like 1-to-1 on this book, it was still so exciting to read. I love the characters so much. George R. R. Martin's writing, I was watching an old Back in the Books wrap-up, I think it was, and she was talking about Game of Thrones, and she put it best. George R. R. Martin's writing is not flowery. It is not overly wordy, but it is still descriptive and emotional, and I really, really love that because it makes it a really seamless and enjoyable reading experience. And I also picked up the sequel in a nicer edition. In a shocking turn of events that nobody anticipated, I'm probably going to abandon my TBR and read this next. Who would have thought? Not me. Listen, I was thinking, I'm like, if I'm still in the adult fantasy mood, I can read Way of Kings. No, I'm just going to keep going with the Song of Ice and Fire. Here's the thing. I have a hard time coming to terms with this, but I don't have to read fucking anything. I don't have to read something if I'm not in the mood. If I want to binge the entire Song of Ice and Fire series within the next month, I can and I will. What's stopping me? Like, yeah, maybe I should branch out and read something else, and I eventually will, and it's not like I'm not reading any other books at the same time. But if this makes me happy and I'm feeling this right now, which I totally am, I'm like all wrapped up in Winterfell and King's Landing, and I'm like here for it, what's stopping me from doing it? Nothing. I want to read it, and I will read the sequel, and I'll just keep reading them until I'm not in the mood for them anymore. I did, in an actual unsarcastic turn of events, start The Count of Monte Cristo, which I did not anticipate. I'm 50 pages in, and I'm actually really enjoying it. I thought this would be one that I would kind of snob. Like, I'd put it on my TBR to give myself brownie points for, trying to read classics that intimidate me, because this one does intimidate me because of the size. But I've actually started it, and I'm actually, enjoying the process of reading it. So I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm not gonna lie. Other than that, my current Tome Topple TPR is just a mess. Obviously, I'm not going to read the King book. I think that one was kind of it was the last one I had purchased when I made the TBR, but now it would probably be Clash of Kings, so at least I can fulfill another prompt in that way. But I don't think I'm going to read King. And Way of Kings is also not going to happen, I think, since I am reading adult high fantasy with Clash of Kings. So I will update you guys 1 or 2 more times before the readathon is over. I believe it ends on Friday, and I usually post videos on Friday, so I'll see if I can neatly wrap this experience up, and I'll talk to you soon. It's my lunch break, and I decided, since I got paid today, that I'm gonna go raid Valley Village and see what's popping over there. So I'm gonna get masked up and do some damage. That was extremely successful. Let me show you what I got. Oh my god. So at Valley Village, it's buy 4 books, get 1 free. So the free one I got was called What If? Randall Munro. It's a nonfiction that kind of deals with these like stupid questions that you always ask yourself, and it just kind of answers them, and it's cute and it's illustrated. And again, this was free, so I'm not mad. The more exciting thing, however, I got my hands on The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin, the 3rd book in the Broken Earth trilogy. I have the other 2. I read the first one. I'm gonna read the second one hopefully in September. And now I got my hands on a brand spanking new, essentially, copy of the 3rd one without having to pay $20 for it. So I'm pretty happy. And I also got A Gathering of Shadows and A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab. Here's the thing. Didn't love the first book. It was fine. I gave it 3 stars. After I read it, I gave it a 4-star, and then afterwards I was like, I don't remember what happened in it, and I didn't leave any kind of lasting impression on me. So I was like, I don't know if I want to read the rest. However, they're both in literal perfect condition. They're paperback, which is what I have. And when else am I going to stumble on both of them at the same time? Plus, I'm not opposed to reading the series. I really did enjoy the concept in the world, so I wouldn't be opposed to going back into it. Anyways, and then the last one I got was Every Heart a Doorway by Sean Maguire. And I didn't think I'd see this there, but I thought I might as well snatch it up. It's nice and short, so I can always speed through this for readathons or something. So I'm like, might as well pick it up. Again, super good condition. Dirt cheap. Anyways, all of these books were $5.99 Canadian, so I'm kind of proud of myself, to say the least. Like, this is a pretty good day. So I might, I'm feeling lucky, I feel like I might go hit up another Valley Village, you know, to be really chaotic. Hello. So I'm gonna wrap up this vlog here. It's currently Thursday, but I don't think I'll have a chance to film tomorrow before I'm due to upload the video. So Tome Topple was not a rousing success by any means, but I did finish Game of Thrones, and I started Count of Monte Cristo, which I didn't think I would get to, but I'm actually really proud of myself. I also started House of Leaves, and I do want to keep working on House of Leaves and Count of Monte Cristo. So I've also started Clash of Kings. So, you know, I'll keep going on those this month, but at least now I can get back to my nonfiction that weren't tomes. And I don't know, I'm pretty proud of the fact that I was able to squeeze those in, because I had a final paper due and I have an exam. I'm in an exam period right now. So the fact that I was able to at least like get through Game of Thrones, start a few other like really chunky books. House of Leaves is so dense that it's hard for me to like focus on it right now. But I definitely do want to keep going on it. And like same with Count of Monte Cristo, I loved it. I actually like really loved what I've read so far. I thought that it was really exciting and well developed and well paced so far. The problem is like it's 1,000 pages, so who knows how well the pacing is gonna go after. But I liked it so far. I thought the setup was really fun. I liked that it was very fast paced. And as for Game of Thrones, that was like a 5 out of 5 stars. I'm just really happy to be back in that world, which is why I started Clash of Kings. I thought I would maybe start Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, but fuck it, I'm on my Game of Thrones train. I actually also at Valley Village yesterday, I went to a different one, and I found the next 3 books in the Song of Ice and Fire series. So I found, A Storm of Swords, A Feast for Crows, and A Dance for Dragons. All paperback in the same editions I have. And the best part was, those 3 and 2 other books, $20, whereas normally one of those paperbacks is like $21 plus tax. So I'm happy as fuck. I'm gonna keep going with those. But yeah, that about wraps up my vlog. So yeah, that about wraps up my Tome Topple vlog. Thank you for watching. I don't know how much fun this was because I was just kind of crying about Game of Thrones the whole time. But stay tuned for my August wrap-up to hear my thoughts on hopefully the other books mentioned in this vlog. I'd like to finish them. Other than that, my socials are linked below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!